ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to GPWCs. My name is Jack Maverick. I am your owner and your announcer here tonight for GPW as we are at our go-home show before GPW Mayday, ladies and gentlemen. That will be live on September 12th, but this will be your last episode of C's before we get to that amazing preview. And we will be going through the entire card here tonight, but later tonight, your main event of the evening will be a no-holds-barred match between Drew McIntyre and Will Ospreay. It is the aerial assassin versus the Scottish hitman. One of the two walks out with their blood still intact. But also we will be seeing who will be challenging All Ego LLC for the GPW Tag Team Championships as the new team of Dragon Lee and Stephanie Vaquer of El Camino del Dragon will be taking on the Motor City Machine Guns. And one of these teams will be going to GPW Mayday, and that is guaranteed here tonight. But also, after the despicable actions of the debuting Blake Monroe last week attacking Molly Holly after her matchup with Elena Black, Blake Monroe will be answering for her attack and introducing herself as such, as I don't know what she's going to have to say, but it was a despicable act nonetheless. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick off tonight's show, not with a match, but we're going to kick it off with a fight, as JC Mateo, representing the Blood Dynasty, will be taking on Myles Borne, representing the Calling, and that will be in an underground fight. Ladies and gentlemen, no rules, no pinfalls. Only way to win is by submission or technical knockout. And if the referee determines that you're not able to continue, then this matchup is over. And Myles Borne, he's got one hell of an opportunity here tonight. I mean, there's only been 2 underground fights here in GPW, and this is the second one. The first one came at the hands of this man's own family member, Jacob Fatu, who went one-on-one with Ludwig Kaiser for the national belt, and Jacob Fatu won that belt in that matchup. JC Mateo now follows in his cousin's footsteps. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, no counts, no pinfalls. The only way to win is by knockout, TKO, or submission. And no ropes, ladies and gentlemen. You got to remember that part. No ropes in this matchup. You're just going to have to make sure that you're not going to fall. But right now, it looks like these two are just going to exchange right hands for the time being. And right now, it looks like they're getting a little bit of licks in as Myles Borne immediately gets the drop kick. And like I said, this matchup is already showing off the craziness that tonight is going to conceive before we get to go to Mayday. And look at this now, JC Mateo trying to choke out the life of Myles Borne with a bear hug. And look at this now, JC Mateo pulling Myles Borne in for a release German suplex. And look at this, the big right hands, unprotected right hands. Whoa, Myles Borne trying to throw Mateo off. Whoa, Mateo catches himself, but wait a minute now. Myles Borne following him to the outside. This is not good. They are already out of a ring that has no ropes. I mean, it's already going to be dangerous. Look at how they're dressed. They're not even dressed to compete here tonight. They are dressed to absolutely fight. And Myles Borne throwing Mateo back into the ring. Floating into a gut-wrench suplex, perhaps, JC Mateo. And Myles Borne gets hit with a big knee. You can see that cut is already opened up on his head. And JC Mateo getting spiked into the mat. And JC Mateo's been opened up as well. We were already expecting blood, but I didn't expect it this early. As Myles Borne immediately locking in a heel hook. JC Mateo, body slam, lays him out. And wait a minute now, Mateo, big moonsault, nearly sent himself out of the ring there. Myles Borne with the uppercut, nailing him right in the back of the head. JC Mateo with a sickening smack eats the corner, and now ladies and gentlemen, like I said, there are no disqualifications in a underground fight. You are allowed to use weapons. You can use your environment to your disposal. But right now, JC Mateo with taking full control out of that butterfly suplex. Mateo now lifting Myles Borne up and plants him with a power slam, and the Kamagoye dropping him right in the face. But now Myles Borne still hasn't gotten up. Myles Borne moves out of the way of a chair shot, and the Danielson running attack there. Wait a minute now, Mateo pops him up and drops him with the jackknife onto the chair. Northern Lights suplex onto the chair. And look at this now, into a Fujiwara armbar. He's just trying to make Mateo tap after that amazing maneuver. And the people at the spectators at ringside, they are certainly, oh no. JC Mateo with the tombstone pile driver, dropping Myles Borne at the edge of the apron. and his feet just dangle off the bottom of the ropes. JC Mateo lifting Myles Borne up, and he just power bombs him to the floor, off of the apron, off of the ring. JC Mateo, oh my God, no, tour of the island, and the referee has called it off. JC Mateo picks up the win, and he wins the underground fight. What a matchup to kick off tonight's show here, ladies and gentlemen. And JC Mateo has knocked off the Calling once again. But ladies and gentlemen, will they be able to knock off the Calling? As at GPW Mayday, GPW National Champion Jacob Fatu defends his title belt against Shawn Spears for that very national championship. A steel cage match, no Blood Dynasty, no Calling's going to get involved. And if Shawn Spears is not able to win, he will not be able to challenge for the national belt for a year's time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our Director of Authority is telling us that the Grizzly Eliminator has one more spot for us, and, well, the person who faces Abyss here tonight will be getting that final spot, and Andre Chase was the closest guy in vicinity, so the Calling's Andre Chase is going to be Abyss's next opponent here tonight. I don't know if that's a good thing for Abyss or a good thing for Andre Chase, but either way, one of these two is going to walk out with an amazing victory. Either it's going to be dominant or it's going to be upsetting. So let's see how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. Our matchup is underway, and Andre Chase already trying to get into the face of Abyss, but I don't know if this is a very smart thing to do. Oh, come on, Andre, you're a professor. You should know better. Oh, Abyss immediately just being fed his next victim, and Andre Chase, what an amazing competitor he is, but look at this now. Oh, Andre Chase is getting laid out with a lariat, and Abyss just stomping a mud hole into the former professor. Andre Chase now, grabbing Abyss, and look at this, swings him down with the alley-oop, and look a minute, oh, maybe looking for the black hole slam, but Andre Chase counters out of it. Neck breaker, beautifully delivered. Andre Chase, single leg drop kick, trying to get the right hands again. And look at this now, Andre Chase trying to get some fight within him. But wait a minute now, ducks the line. And look at this, oh no, Abyss caught him with the Uranagi. Beautifully delivered, and now Abyss splashes down onto Andre Chase. And now Abyss, oh no, drops him with shock treatment. Good lord, splits his spine right in half. Black hole slam to follow. Count to 100, Abyss has just won this matchup in dominating fashion. And Abyss just knocking off another opponent here tonight. Even though he was not pinned last week, he suffered his first loss in the tag team matchup with Drew McIntyre after Ospreay was able to get the pin over him. And now Abyss, he has no idea what is to come next, as Abyss is just waiting for even more attacks to happen. Okay, what the hell happened to the... Wait, that's Janice. Who's holding... Oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, Aleister Black. Aleister Black, we've not seen him for a little over a month, and he has Janice. He has Abyss's favorite weapon. He's telling Aleister Black to give it to him. He has no idea where Aleister Black could have gotten Janice. He just puts Janice on the ground, and he's telling Abyss to come get it. What is Aleister Black even thinking? He suckered the monster in and hit him right in the face. But what is a monster when it comes to a literal devil in the form of Aleister Black? And Aleister Black just showed everybody why he's... Oh my god. No, Abyss is back up to his feet. You did not put down the monster for long. And wait a minute, what? He's gone. Aleister is just gone. What the hell? And Abyss has no idea what's going on either. He picks up Janice and he's just putting some holes in our ring mat. He's gonna have to pay for that shit. Well, Abyss is probably gonna have to fight off some security guys, but ladies and gentlemen, your Grizzled Initiation Eliminator, this matchup will be all of the Grizzled Initiates and Andre Chase, who have been having their matchups here on GPW. This matchup will be an Eliminator style match, so think of a gauntlet, but the way to win, you must be the last man standing. The reward to be given to the final man in this matchup. But also, I have just now signed this match because why the hell not? A Monster Abyss will get to have another feeding session as he goes one-on-one with Aleister Black, the Demon, the Monster. Which one is going to walk out with their hand held down low? But ladies and gentlemen, now making their ways down to the ring, we are about to determine who is going to be All Ego LLC's challengers for their GPW Tag Team Championships at GPW Mayday. Will it be Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin of the Motor City Machine Guns, or will it be the new team of Dragon Lee and Stephanie Vaquer of El Camino del Dragon? And Stephanie Vaquer and Dragon Lee, they have been training for the last couple of weeks since their matchup with Penta at GPW Challenger in a triple threat match. But now, this is their first match in a tag team environment. Who are we going to see walk to GPW Mayday and maybe perhaps take the belts off of All Ego LLC finally? Because I'm getting sick of hearing Ethan Page talk every week. But either way, look at this now. Dragon Lee was already trying to use the La Magistral to knock Dragon Lee off his game here. Chris Sabin gonna knock it, Dragon Lee back into one of his own. But look at this now, Sabin gonna pull him down. Big blue thunder bomb, sort of. Chris Sabin now gonna make sure, oh no, ref took too long into the pinfall. Dragon Lee with a big clothesline and a shooting star press, beautifully delivered. And now Dragon Lee gonna roll Chris Sabin out here. What does he have in mind? Whoa, trying to go for the boot there, but Chris Sabin just rolls him out. Big right hand delivered. And look at this now, Sabin trapping Dragon Lee into the corner. And now Dragon, he's stuck on the outside. Oh no. And that penalty kick followed by the super kick. Beautifully delivered with a senton. And look at this now in the middle of the ring. The air raid crash from Alex Shelley. Super kick. Dragon Lee is definitely getting a little bit of offense in at the moment. Snap German suplex. Gets the tag into Stephanie Vaquer. And look at this now as Dragon Lee, Stephanie Vaquer. Whoa, wait a minute now. Stopping Alex Shelley in his tracks. Double gourd buster. Beautifully delivered. And now Stephanie Vaquer and Alex Shelley going to go face to face here. And look at this now. Shelley. Oh no. Shelley, we tried to go for the drop toe hold. Stephanie Vaquer going for the missile drop kick and lays out Alex Shelley with the super kick. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, we do that move here on Universe Mode because it's sick and it's over. And wait a minute now, look at this now. Dragon Lee with the drive-by enziguri, knocking Alex Shelley in the face. Could have it here, no. And now Alex Shelley going to take control. Wait a minute, I have a hurricane. Shout out to Shane Helms. But either way, Alex Shelley getting the tag to Chris Sabin. Drop that big axe handle to the arm, followed by the enziguri. Dragon Lee, ripcord knee strike right under the chin. Dragon Lee now hooking the leg, and Chris Sabin could be in trouble here. Gets the shoulder up, Sabin, oh, kick to the gut. But now, oh, trying to go for an enziguri. Dragon Lee was too low, dropping Sabin with a DDT. And now, oh, big right hand delivered to the ear of Alex Shelley. And wait a minute now, Sabin trying to take control, pulls him up. Wait a minute. Cradle shock from Chris Sabin, drops Dragon Lee. Stephanie Vaquer breaking up the pinfall with a kick. Chris Sabin now going to get the tag into his boy Alex Shelley. Wait a minute now. Oh, he's going to get him. Manhattan. And look at this now. Drop kick from Sabin. And now into the bridge here. Oh my God, what a drop kick. Beautifully delivered by the Motor City Machine Guns. Just one of the best tag teams in the world ever. And look at this now. Stephanie Vaquer able to get the tag from Dragon Lee. The desperate tag. And Stephanie Vaquer into the corner with the Meteoroa. Rolling Alex Shelley back up to his feet. What does she have in mind? Maybe the SVB backbreaker could be in her future. No. Stephanie Vaquer lays out on the ground. Sliced bread from Alex Shelley. Hooking the legs. He could have it. No. Stephanie Vaquer did not get taken down. But look at this now with the tag. Dragon Lee, whoa, sweeps out and just knocks the legs from under Alex Shelley. Gets the tope atomico. Dragon Lee pulls him in. Destroyer drops him right on his head. Dragon Lee with the big belly to back suplex, dropping him right on his head. No. And now Dragon Lee, Operation Dragon, incoming. Alex Shelley slamming him right down. And wait a minute now, signature of the Machine Gun, Skull and Bones. hooking the leg off the skull and bones. No, Dragon Lee gets the kick out. Matchup continues, could be looking for cradle shock. Chris Sabin looking for cradle shock, but Dragon Lee fighting out of it. Big knee directly under the chin. Dragon Lee now hooking the leg. Is El Camino going to be able to walk away to Mayday? But no. Chris Sabin gets the shoulder onto the ropes. And look at this now, Dragon Lee with the Irish whip. Stephanie back air off the middle rope with the clothesline. Alex Shelley now getting the hot tag. Wait a minute now, back air. Snap German suplex. Drops Shelley on his head and clears out Sabin. And wait a minute now, Sabin back on the top. Dragon Lee taking full control. Spikes him with a DDT. And now in the middle of the ring, Stephanie back air pulls Alex Shelley in for the SVB. Stephanie back air, hooking the leg, drops Alex Shelley, and El Camino are going to GPW Mayday. What a phenomenal tag team match. Dragon Lee and Stephanie Vaquer, El Camino del Dragon, have just bested the Motor City Machine Guns and will now challenge All Ego LLC for the GPW Tag Team Championships at GPW Mayday. And I'm getting word now, ladies and gentlemen, that now that Stephanie Vaquer has officially been involved in the match, Elena Black wants to be involved. She wants to help defend the belts. And Ethan Page said, okay, have at it. Let's do it. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we will be seeing a huge one-on-one matchup as Ricky Saints will be going one-on-one with Ron Killings in his GPW debut. After weeks and weeks of back-and-back trash talk, Ron Killings attacking Ricky Saints for no apparent reason, slamming him onto a trash can. They're finally going to get their one-on-one encounter. But ladies and gentlemen, this woman made her debut last week here on GPW. Blake Monroe. And Blake Monroe stepping into the face of the GPW Women's World Champion. She attacked WWE Hall of Famer and legend Molly Holly. Blake Monroe will now have to answer. Blake Monroe certainly not making the crowd happy here tonight. Well, don't get too ahead of your... She's coming to save us! Mighty Molly makes her way down to the ring. Where has she been? We've been needing a superhero here at GPW. Well, challenge has been accepted. And wait a minute now! Blake Monroe already trying to get another cheap shot. But this is not Molly Holly that you're dealing with. This is Mighty Molly. The Molly go round. Drops it right on to Blake Monroe. And ladies and gentlemen, Mighty Molly is in the building. And she's gonna be at GPW Mayday. As she's gonna go one-on-one with the debuting Blake Monroe in her first one-on-one encounter. Do not miss this. A clash of women's wrestling of decades of development. Mighty Molly versus Blake Monroe. But also, ladies and gentlemen, we saw it last week. These two are not allowed to be in the same room. So Penta is not here tonight. But Penta and Ray Phoenix, both these men, these brothers, will go one-on-one in a pure, violent, no love-filled match But also, ladies and gentlemen, your main event of GPW Mayday, CM Punk, Joe Hendry, Will Ospreay, Drew McIntyre, and the champion Swerve Strickland in a 5-way dance to determine who walks out as the true GPW champion. That will be at GPW Mayday on September 12th, ladies and gentlemen. But right now is time for your main event of the evening. We saw these two last week in the main event as well, but they had an extra man in their corner. Drew McIntyre was backed by the Monster Abyss, as Will Ospreay took on CM Punk as his tag team partner. And Drew McIntyre, he was the one who got pinned. So McIntyre, he has a lot to redeem here tonight, as the former GPW champion Will Ospreay. He is going to have one hell of a matchup. He's gone one-on-one with Drew McIntyre several times at this point, and it has always ended with Ospreay getting the win, and Ospreay is not going to think any bit different. Ospreay is going to make sure he's going to walk out with the victory. He's going to make sure he walks out with his head held high. And right now, Will Ospreay just taking full advantage of Drew McIntyre. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, no holds barred. So no countouts, no disqualifications, but pinfalls must be made inside the ring. Drew McIntyre now, whoa, off the ropes, moonsault into the neckbreaker, courtesy of the AJ Styles moveset. And look at this now, Will Ospreay, oh man, gets a big chop from the Scottish Hitman, the Hitman and the Assassin. They know how to find each other's weak spots as McIntyre flies off the apron with a clothesline. McIntyre now pulling out a chair right to the guts. Drew McIntyre already utilizing his moveset to his advantage. You already know a Hitman as his favorite tool. And McIntyre just tossing that trash can out from under the ring, picks up the lid as well. Poison Rana onto the floor. Drew McIntyre gets laid out with the corkscrew moonsault. And now Ospreay's on the damn barricade and just laid out Drew McIntyre. He tried to go for the phenomenal forearm, but Drew McIntyre lays him out with a big suplex. Now McIntyre, he's got caught. Oh, right across the head with a trash can lid. Well, Ospreay and Drew McIntyre, they are going to use wrestling to their advantage, but whatever you're going to use as a weapon, they're going to use it to make their opponent's lives even bit more of hell, as McIntyre just lays Will Ospreay down onto the apron here. McIntyre looks for more weapons to use. Oh, he pulls out a Singapore cane. That might have been the one that Elena Black used last week to retain her championship against Molly Holly. And wait a minute now, reverse DDT onto the chair and the kendo stick. Ospreay hooking the leg. He might have just put the Hitman out of commission. But now, look at this now. Ospreay, whoa, handspring, lethal injection. Beautifully delivered. Ospreay out of the corner again. You can never know when Ospreay's going to get it. A kick out at one from McIntyre. Oh! Ospreay just throwing the trash can under the head of the Scottish Hitman. He has no regard for this man's safety whatsoever. And no, McIntyre getting tossed right into the corner, just showing no regard here. Wait a minute now, Ospreay, he just throws McIntyre to the other side. What in the hell does he have in mind here? Whoa! McIntyre! What the hell? Ospreay going through the... Oh, kick out at two. Ospreay just went through the bottom rope on the outside. Tornado DDT. There was a lot to take in there. McIntyre just throwing the trash can onto Ospreay's head once again and lays out the table. Super kick to the gut. Another super kick gonna knock him down. Oh, tornado splash. Beautifully delivered. Ospreay on the top of the head with the Pele kick. And wait a minute now, Ospreay, we saw the messed up one he did last week to Abyss, but that one was friggin' beautiful. Right on the table with the Styles Clash. McIntyre could be in trouble. McIntyre gets the kick out. Drew McIntyre now. Wait a minute, as Ospreay sets up the table, Ospreay goes crashing over it, just flying out of nowhere. But look at this now, Drew McIntyre has Ospreay perched up on the top rope. This is not a good position. No! The air raid crash through the table from the top rope. McIntyre hooks the leg. Ospreay gets the shoulder up. Matchup continues on, and wait a minute, suplex onto the trash can, flattens it under all the weight, and tried to go for the Claymore. Ospreay stomping out McIntyre and hitting the tornado kick. Ospreay hooking the leg. These men are so desperate to get the pinfall at the moment. Ospreay with the moonsault out of the corner. Ospreay now, wait a minute, McIntyre trying to outrun him, but Ospreay's just too damn quick. And look at this now, Ospreay hitting Blade! No! Drew McIntyre counters out of it, and look at this, tosses him away with the suplex. McIntyre now, oh no, could be looking for another Styles Clash. Will Ospreay gets countered and rebounds. German suplex dropped right on his head, just like the powerbomb that he gave him last week. Drew McIntyre now picking up the Singapore cane and is just delivering welts on the back of Will Ospreay. You can just see those welts starting to fill, and he just broke the Singapore cane. Claymore to Will Ospreay. No. Future Shock onto the chair. Future Shock DDT. Drew McIntyre has put down the aerial assassin. What a matchup to close us off. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us here tonight. Congratulations to Drew McIntyre, and we will see you guys on September 12th for GPW Mayday. Please tune in. We're out of time, ladies and gentlemen.